Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Mindset Monday. Here we are again. My name is Sally Garozzo, and this is the place to be to get inspiration and motivation on how to be happier and deeply fulfilled. So today's session is called How to Feel Deeply Beautiful on the Inside in a World That Promotes Perfection. Now, I'm talking to both men and women in this talk because I know it does affect both of us. So this is a huge subject, and I want to touch on a few key concepts that can help you when you're out and about, when you're with friends, when you're watching TV, when you're on social media, when you're reading magazines, etc., etc. But I want to start with a little story. I want to tell you a little bit about what I have been through with this. So I remember being so caught up in the way that I looked for many, many years, and it's only really been in the last year that I've been able to kind of loosen that grip on my looks as part of my identity. Now, I always had quite a dramatic look. I was always very stylized, and I would express myself through different images. I guess that was the kind of pop star in me because I did music for many years. I've got a degree in songwriting and I've got 2 albums, and so I was always kind of caught up in that creative world, not just vocally and through music but also through imagery as well. So I was kind of like this blank canvas, and I actually really enjoyed the creative part, but there would always be this kind of undertone of attention seeking in a way, and looking for that deep validation through the way that I presented myself. And I remember a few occasions when I was in my early 20s and I would go clubbing with some friends, for example, and I would feel this like real deep jealousy, this envy, this kind of real deep dissatisfaction about the way that I looked, because I thought they looked better than me. I thought they looked slimmer. I thought their hair was better, their clothes were better, their makeup was better. And I got so caught up in this idea, in this kind of comparison, before social media, that I kind of forgot to have a good time. And I only really felt reassured when I was looking in a mirror or when I was a size 10 or a size 12. So a couple of years ago, and this I suppose was really the final straw for me, a couple of years ago I went out for lunch. It was my birthday and I was meeting my parents at the Shard on November the 30th, quite cold, crisp day. And I remember getting dressed up to the nines, and I looked good. I had high heel boots on, black tights, I had this short little mini dress with puff sleeves, kind of ruchy neckline. I had my hair all done, my makeup all done. And I remember the day I actually felt very, very vulnerable on the inside. I felt very raw on the inside. Something was going on with this guy. It was when Graham and I were on a break, but something was happening with this guy, and I felt very vulnerable and I felt very raw. And I can remember that day, subconsciously, I was kind of power dressing to make myself feel more in control. But when I got up there, my mum and dad, bless them, they're like, really simple folks, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. So nobody else was dressed up, and everybody was just kind of casual and really enjoying themselves, having a nice time, focusing on their conversations and their food. And all I was concerned about was the way that I looked. But more than that, I realised for the first time ever that I actually looked intimidating. And that was a big wake-up call for me. I did not want to come across as intimidating. I didn't want to come across cold-hearted. I didn't want to come across as sort of nose in the air, I'm better than you because I look better than you, that kind of thing. So I had to take stock of this because it actually felt very uncomfortable. It felt really incongruous. So I had to take a kind of good look at what ideologies I was buying into that told me I had to look a certain way, told me that I had to be in control of my identity, that told me I had to come across confident, etc., etc. And that's what I did. And I've learned a few things, and I want to share those things with you. And so this idea of external beauty is really another way that the media tries to control us. The media, the diet industry, they control us by making us think like we are inadequate if we don't look a certain way, if we don't have our hair done, our makeup done, the latest clothes on, etc., etc., especially the retail industry. So if you're a rebel like me, I very much have rebellious undertones, I realised that actually the most subversive thing I could do was to not buy in to this utter BS. And so I began to identify with that rather than, so I identified with the part of society that was telling me I had to be this particular way. So here's the truth. Your soul wants to be free, right? Your soul wants to be free from chasing this ideal because your soul knows that the idea of external beauty is utterly shallow. It's a complete myth, all right? True, deep, lasting happiness does not come from it. Any happiness that does come from it is totally short-lived. And here's the most important thing, I think, the most important thing to remember is that physicality is not the only way of expressing beauty. Think of all the people that you know, think of all the people of our time who have beauty deep within their souls by way of kindness and compassion. And I think these are two qualities that we have to really, really look at cultivating when we're looking at feeling deeply beautiful. So there are a number of people of our time, and I've just written a few down. People like Mother Teresa, I believe Michelle Obama, Katie Lang, Nelson Mandela, David Attenborough, Richard Branson, Gandhi. All of these people have kindness and compassion at their heart and a deeper kind of take on reality. So beauty runs so much deeper than skin. Beauty is in our values, beauty is in our actions, beauty is in our choices. It's in our behaviours, it's in our habits, it's in our ideas, it's in the way that we talk, in the way that we communicate with people. You can write beautiful words, you can create beautiful food, you can do something beautiful for another person. So focusing on the way we look externally as a way of defining who we are on the outside is a surefire way of creating depression, creating anxiety, and long-term sadness. I honestly believe that. And it can actually really prevent us from appreciating the beauty that already exists around us. It can stop us from being in the moment. It can stop us from appreciating what we've got in our lives because we're so focused on the fact that we're dissatisfied about the way that we look. It can stop us from enjoying the wind in our hair. It can stop us from just being free. It can stop us from being wild at heart, if you know what I mean. So, of course, I'm not saying that we should never wear makeup. I'm not saying that we should never go and spend money on things that we like, on things that we enjoy, on keeping ourselves presentable, because let's face it, we all do feel better when we are a bit more groomed. We feel more presentable, we feel nicer on the inside. But what I'm saying is, don't take it to the extreme, because it's that extreme thing that causes kind of a dislinking from or a disconnection from your inner being. The part of you that is so much more than beauty, the part of you that is so much more than external stuff. So I've got some tips for you to help you redefine what beauty means to you so that you can start to feel more beautiful on the inside. So my first tip is to find out where any dissatisfaction with the way that you look comes from. Where did it come from? Where did this need to be perfectly beautiful come from? Was it mother? Was it father? Were you criticised by mum or dad? Or were you trying to compete with a sibling or a best friend? Were you bullied for having a big belly or a funny nose or frizzy hair or whatever? So look at that, but also find out what this excessive attachment to beauty is actually giving you. Okay, so what is excessive interest in your looks protecting you from? What's it stopping you? What's it protecting you from? Is it protecting you from the hurt, the shame, the humiliation that you might be attacked or bullied by parent or friend or partner or whatever? Is that what it's there for? Is it preventing you from actually just relaxing because you think you have to be in control all of the time? Or is it punishing you in some way? Do you feel that you have to be better because you don't feel like you are enough deep down inside? Because anything that you have, even if you don't want it, your mind thinks you do. So if you want to let go of it, you've got to find out what the role, function and purpose of this particular issue is in your life. So tip number 2 then is to basically stick 2 fingers up at the world and to reclaim your power, take your power back. And basically it's about deciding not to buy into these shallow ideals from the media, from the diet industry, from the magazines, from anything that forces you to or recommends that you be a certain way. So focus on the variety. This is the thing, the variety of body types. And this is why I love Brighton so much, because there's a huge variety of people. And in cities, we can see the variety of people that live there. And it's great to be able to live amongst it, you know. So again, focus on the variety of body types, of faces that exist, rather than this narrow idea of perfection. Because if nature wanted us to all be the same, we would have all been born the same, but it wants us to be different so that the species can evolve and survive. And so tip number 3, try to get a perspective on yourself which is not flat and one-dimensional. So when you're looking in a mirror, what you're seeing back is kind of flat and one-dimensional. So you're not seeing yourself as a complete person, right? So you want to try to see yourself as a whole person, as a complete person, a person with feelings, with ideas, with words that come out of your mouth, with skills, with I don't know, just multi-layered. You're a multi-layered person, and as you look at yourself in this way, as you see yourself as other people see you, give yourself kindness, compassion and understanding, because those are the qualities that will free you from so much. There's this idea of thinking about yourself globally rather than seeing yourself and all the kind of micro nuances that exist. So this bit of cellulite there, this hair sticking out of my chin there, this spot here, or this lump here, or my grey hairs, or my chipped fingers, or whatever it may be. Try not to focus on those individual nuances, but focus on yourself as a global being, somebody who is multi-layered with many, many skills and talents. And it's a practice. The more you practice these things, because it's all well and good having the information, and we've all got access to so much information these days. But if we really want to make these kinds of changes, we have to choose, we have to decide to actually do something about it. And the only way that you can do that is by changing your thinking, literally by deciding to shift your perspective, to change your thinking, to use different language towards yourself and gain a higher perspective on it. So take yourself out of the treacle, remove yourself, unplug yourself from the kind of mass hypnosis that we are in, that is designed to kind of hold us back. So that is all from me today. I'd love to hear from you to find out if some of these tips did work for you, or if they didn't work, or if it resonated with you or didn't resonate with you. But if you're still struggling with any kind of issue around the way that you look and want to know how I can help you personally, I offer a 2-hour intense treatment called Rapid Transformational Therapy, which literally clears all your blocks through the use of your subconscious mind, and it gives the most important system of all, the most important operating system of all, your brain, your mind. It gives it a massive upgrade. So that is what I do in my RTT sessions. And if you're still not convinced, then pop along to my website and have a look at some of the testimonials that people have been saying. It's sallygarozzo.com if you need to know. So that's it. If you want to know more, you're welcome to send me a message. If you're watching the replay, let me know that you've watched it. Just put replay in the comments. If you've got any questions, do let me know and I'll answer them. Have a great day and look after yourselves. Bye.